What's going on, everyone? So, Victor Wembanyama is cleared to return. Did a whole video about that. Check that out after this video. But he was also asked, how did he feel that the San Antonio Spurs didn't go and make a big push, right? They didn't go and trade a bunch of guys to go get a Kevin Durant, or, there's talks about a Jaylen Brown. Giannis, we'll see what happens with that. But, if that becomes available, maybe the Spurs kind of reconsider and go, okay, let's make a move like that. We'll see. Time will tell. But they asked Victor Wembanyama, how did he feel about that? And he responded with basically he's fine and okay that they didn't do that, right? That they didn't consolidate all their guys to go and make a move like that, which is good, right? That's what you want to hear from your star. But to say exactly what he said, here's what he said, and this is from Maxine Aubin. So breaking up a young core for a single player rarely works. I want the Spurs to be a balanced team. They've been masters of that in the past. So again, this is from Victor Wembanyama himself, talking about how he didn't want to break up the young core to go make a swing for a guy, and then it doesn't work, and then, now he's kind of in this spot, right? And the Spurs even had those concerns. There were reports that, hey, we don't want to go and sell everything to go get a guy like a Kevin Durant because now our window's shorter. And then Kevin Durant leaves, and now we're stuck with, Wemby and maybe a Stephon Castle, and that's it. Now you got to kind of retool, rebuild. Now, if you win a championship, then you justify it and argue it, right? But it's something I was talking about even during the entire Kevin Durant saga, right? I was like, does Kevin Durant put the Spurs over the top? I don't believe he does. Somebody like Giannis? Yes. Somebody like Giannis, I think, is justifiable if he were to become available because, again, he's second player in all of basketball, right? And he's proven that him plus, good players can win a championship. I mean, Drew Holiday is excellent. Don't get me wrong. But is he really the second option? Most people don't look at him as a second option on a contending team, right? Same thing with Chris Middleton, right? There was questions for years of, is Chris Middleton the guy that actually works? But again, you add the culmination of those guys, right? It's Drew Holiday and it's two number threes now, kind of the impact overall. Either one kind of be a number two on any given night. Plus Giannis is so great that, is giving you 50 a game in the finals. You can go win a championship. Now imagine him alongside a Victor Wembanyama and a De'Aaron Fox. Those would be the two best guys he's ever played with. You don't think that would make you a contender? But again, you'd have to win. And you're all in at that point. If you're the Spurs, do you kind of just stay the course? But there's a couple things about that I think are important to note and mention. One, the new CBA, right? The issue with the new CBA is it makes it harder to really build out over years. Because if you have this hey, we're going to spend the next 3 to 5 years, developing Dylan Harper and Carter Bryant and Victor Wembanyama and so on and so forth. Oh, and we're going to keep De'Aaron Fox, right? All of a sudden, the Spurs get very, very expensive and very quick. De'Aaron Fox is about to get an upgraded max contract, right? So there's one. Victor Wembanyama the next year is going to get one, right? Then it's okay, after him, it's Stephon Castle. After him, it's Dylan Harper. Literally, in the next 4 years, they could be a clear-cut second apron team. Right? Because you're going to have 3 guys making $40 million a year and a guy that's making $50+ million a year and De'Aaron Fox. Now, at that point, maybe they've ended up, trading De'Aaron Fox or whatever, who knows? But with the new CBA, it makes that you could wait, you just go into the tax. It's fine. Right? So, yeah, we'll pay all these guys. It's fine. And we can always trade guys later on if need be. But if the core works, then we can just kind of tweak around those guys as time goes on. Well, now with the new second apron, it's harder to tweak, right? So, yes, let's say you might win a championship, but are you going to be able to win several? OKC, we're about to find out, right? OKC, you just saw almost $900 million that they're going to pay those 3 guys over the next 5 years, the 3 main guys. Right? Are they going to be able to replicate that and win a championship? And here's the problem. If you don't win a championship, you're going to have this 2-year window. If you don't win a championship in that 2-year window, then again, you become one of the most expensive teams in all of basketball and you haven't won anything. At least the Thunder won. So at least the Thunder can say, we got one. Right? So it's justified. What happens if 4 years from now, you're still a top 6 team or something like that, right? And now it's okay, now we got to pay Dylan Harper. It's just, again, I'm not saying that'll happen, but it's something that it changes, right? before the CBA, it was fine. That's why the Spurs were able to keep their guys and would go into the and you'll pay guys and then bring in a Bruce Bowen and a Boris Diaw and all these guys, right? And they could have 4 guys making at that time it was like $25 million a year, right? But it was fine because again, as long as you have an owner that's willing to pay whatever it is, but you can't just pay anymore. Right now, there's restrictions. Now you can't make those moves. Now you can't go, oh, hey, we need a Bruce Bowen type. You can't get that, right? Because this second apron says no, right? So those are things you're going to have to keep in mind in regards to like them kind of carving this out for years. Now, I'm not saying they don't stay the course, but I'm saying at some point, not necessarily this season, could be 3 years from now. At some point, they're probably going to have to consolidate guys like Jeremy Sohan. He's going to get paid soon. Like, what are they going to do with him? De'Aaron Fox, if Dylan Harper does kind of become the guy, what are they going to do with Fox, right? There might be a point where you're going to have to consolidate some of these guys, right? Devin Vassell, all these. You're going to have to end up shipping those guys out to bring in one guy, maybe like smaller parts, right? Draft picks become so much more important, right? So I agree. Like I want to see the Spurs kind of stay the course right now because I do think that's the best course of action. Right, you stay the course right now. I don't mind, little minor trades, right? Like they went and traded for Kelly Olynyk. Can you turn Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson into something, right? Like, and maybe kind of upgrade a key position long term, right? Like, I still want to see them make little tweaks, but as far as like the big splash, like Jaylen Brown, I didn't really make sense. Giannis is intriguing. If they did it, I wouldn't hate it. If they don't do it, I don't hate it. Right? It's kind of one of those things like if it's there and you can get it at the right price, why not take the gamble? Right? Like, especially if you win a championship or two, it's justified. But again, like Spurs are going to have to kind of navigate this pretty quickly over the next few years. Right? And it's going to take Wemby's patience too. Because, it's easy to say that right now, but now Wemby's in year 5, year 6, year 7, and it's like, I still haven't won a championship. Right? Now he starts getting that itch. Now it's like, oh, I want to win multiple championships. And if the Spurs aren't there yet, right, like those are all things. Everyone's looking at the OKC route and going like, hey, that's something, like every team should be doing that. That's not that easy, right? That's not. I mean, Spurs have had more misses over the years, right? Even in their dynasty days, right? Even in the heydays, they weren't great at developing guys. They just hit on the right guys. Right? They stumble into Tim Duncan, who they didn't need to develop. The guy was already a top player the moment he entered in the league, right? And then Tony Parker hit, and Manu Ginobili hit, and some of these guys just hit. It wasn't even necessary, but you got to think of the 30 other draft picks that they took over that time span that didn't hit. Right? So now, granted, again, if Dylan Harper, you already hit on Victor Wembanyama. So if Dylan Harper hits, and then, Carter Bryant, like let's say Stephon Castle just is that guy. Like we all think he's going to be, a guy and he doesn't, right? But Dylan Harper or Carter Bryant ends up becoming that guy, right? Like as long as they hit on like 2 or 3 of those guys, like 2 elite, like if Dylan Harper becomes like a franchise guy and Victor Wembanyama, then I think you'll be good, right? But like what if Dylan Harper is great, but not like all-time level great? Like what if he's like just really good, right? He's a perennial all-star, top 20 guy in the league, 25 guy in the league. That's really good, right? Like, but you might need him to be a top 10 guy if you want to win multiple championships over the years. You got to keep in mind, the last team to win back-to-back championships was the Warriors in, 2017 or whatever, right? Like, so you're talking about, literally, we've had 7 different NBA champions since then. It's what the NBA wants. So it's going to be really hard to kind of carve that out. But again, I do agree with Wemby. You got to stay the course at least right now. You got to see what you could potentially have. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.